Welcome back to another episode of Rusted Up Garage. Well, as you can see, we got ourselves a frame, a 58 frame. We not only got a 58 frame, we got a 69 frame. One's from an Oldsmobile, one's from a Camaro. And the goal of this episode is to bring them together to one. So, you're gonna definitely want to follow along for this series, okay? Go like it and subscribe, hit the dinger bell, share it. I mean, we're building a 58 Rustmobile here. I mean, who don't want to see that? I mean, everybody. So, when we come back after the break, I'm going to walk you through what we did to get to here. And then, we're going to break out the Sawzall. And we're going to cut this and hope my measurements are right. Probably should be-ish. Zach could help me. I don't know where he's holding the tape measure, but anyways. Okay, we'll catch you after the break. Okay, we're back. Told you, after that short commercial break, which is basically our intro. We're gonna get right into it. Less blabble, more work. So what we've done today is, this morning when it wasn't, hot this afternoon. This morning it was cooler. This afternoon it was hotter, so we took a break. And now it's the evening, so it's cooler, so we're gonna work again. But we brought the frame in the garage. Now, I was gonna do it outside, but the problem is my concrete kind of like this. It's like that outside. So to get everything level, it was just gonna be a pain. I know this is level because this is where we built the chassis for the wagon, right here. Which you guys haven't seen that video yet, but it's coming. Maybe it'll be chassis week. Maybe you'll see the chassis build for the wagon behind this one. That would be confusing. So, start off with, we brought the chassis in. This is the 58, which really resembles the 55, which is basically right there above us. Still waiting on engine parts. Yeah, that's us, still waiting on engine parts. You wouldn't think it'd be that hard to get them, but I guess it is. I'm gonna have to freaking drive to Ohio and get them myself, I guess. Anyways, I'm gonna be going down that rabbit hole right now. We brought the car in. We set the frame on jack stands with our little lovely thing, and we got it nice and low, or plumb, or whatever. I don't know which direction which stone. Then we broke out the old laser of lasers. Now, our laser really ain't nothing spectacular. It's just one of these little Boschi things, okay? And you just turn it on. That's what you do. You just on. Like that, just lasering things, just everywhere, okay? So it's just one of these little lasery things. And we set it up down there and shot the chassis down through here. And as you can see, there's some lines. That's the center of the chassis. So we drew a bunch of white lines to center the chassis all the way down through, okay? Then we took and centered the rear end. And we took the laser and shot it up the center of the rear end and then shot it across the frame. And as you can see, we now have center lines of the axle and the axle housing right here, okay? So now we know where the center of the chassis is sitting because we did all that work. Next, we measured from the center of the chassis to a random number. I picked 80 inches. Why did I pick 80 inches? I don't know. I just did, okay? And I put this right here, okay? And I actually welded this in also for a little stiffness action here. Because we're gonna be removing, because when this thing bags itself out, that's gonna be way up here, and let's just say none of this is gonna work, okay? Back to my marks. So we know it's 80 to here. Next, we did the same with the front, okay? We took a laser and we shot down the center of the spindle, and it was right here. Here's the marks all the way down through, okay? So we know that was square. Now we measured backwards from here to here to see if the numbers matched. You wouldn't believe it. They did. Yeah, I know, I was pretty amazed myself. Now, the chassis itself is about 1/8 of an inch out in the center, but being hand welded back into 58s, I mean, it's not bad, considering. So the next thing we did was we measured a couple heights, so we knew where the bumper bracket has to be from here to there, okay? So we got all those measurements in here, all square, to the point where we're really content. We're happy with all the numbers. We double checked them, triple checked them. We welded a couple more braces in. Then we moved over here, okay? Because we got this 69 Camaro frame, which just happens to fit really well on these, I believe. I'm pretty sure if you got an Oldsmobile and you want to get converted to like power steering and all this, I think the first gens are the way to go for these. I'm pretty sure. We'll know at the end of this video, won't we? So I did the same thing. I welded a brace in, okay? And then I center lined the chassis this way. And then I leveled the chassis out to where it should be level. It's not level now, but it was earlier. Leveled the chassis out. And then the same thing. Here are my center line marks. So this is the center line of the axle. Okay? Now I also know approximately where, it's going to be right about here, is where the frame narrows in to this right here. Okay? So now we came up here and redrew them numbers. So you got a line here and a line here. So I'm going to cut the frame right here and right there. And this is going to be the width to allow that chassis to slide in here. Now we're going to have to cut it here and here, and I'm going to try to leave the bottom piece to set the chassis on, because the bottom of that frame rail will be the bottom of this chassis, okay, by measurement. Now the only real difference between the two is that cradle will be 1 inch lower than what this cradle is. That's the difference, 1 inch lower than this cradle. And that's just because it was designed differently. Obviously, this was designed for the motor to sit on it, the front of the motor, where this one's designed for the motor mounts to sit on it, which would have to be right here, okay? The steering boxes are really close. I'm pretty sure the steering box is gonna work with the original column with a little universal joint. So I'm pretty excited about that too. So now that I know where everything is at, everything's square, we got all our lines there, really the next thing to do is me take a Sawzall and whack the front of this frame off, like that, okay? And then come in here and whack it off here, here, get rid of this brace, and I'm gonna come through and cut it like this, so then I have this ear, and do the same there, and then clean all this up, and I also have to remove these right here, okay? So we're gonna cut those off as well, clean this up, because that's gonna slide in, that frame's gonna sit right in here. And we should be able to set the tail down, and then we should be able to jack the front up to the right height to level it all. And then we can shoot our laser back down the center line of this and square the whole front end back up. And then we know the measurement from here to where that bar is. So we just slide it in and square it all up. So theoretically, sounds pretty easy. Oh, I mean, I spent, I don't know, 5 hours measuring, marking, squaring, leveling. This is something, don't rush it. Just take your time and make sure. I mean, I went back and forth on this front end like 4 times just to make sure after I put a bunch of stuff in it, double check. So I know what the wheelbase is, and the wheelbase is really within 1/4 inch of factory according to my measurements. So that could be a plethora of things changing that. So I'm really confident, and our dog's barking over here. I'm not sure why, but he is. He wants to go outside. The dog wants to go outside. Okay, he's gonna go outside in a minute because I'm gonna take the Sawzall out to get him out here. But we're about ready to cut all this up. So I'll probably have Zach just set the tripod up, and I'm probably not gonna talk much. It is still hotter than a Baywatch episode back in the 80s, okay? I'm just letting you know. And fat boy here needs his big ass fan. I'm not swearing, that's what it's called. Okay? I'm sorry, that's just what I bought. That's his name. So, I think we pretty much laid it out. If you got questions about this, feel free to hit us up, really, because you know, this can get confusing. And I'm not a professional by any means, Clipper, but you know, I think you can just take your time and make sure you got all your measurements, all your square lines, everything's level and plumb. You really can't mess this up, okay? And then when you're all done, as long as it's pretty square, you can pretty much align it. And then go. So let's do the front, okay? And then once we get all the front tied together, we'll work to the back. Because the back's gonna be cool. We're gonna make brackets because we're gonna put a 4-link parallel back there. You know why we're gonna do that? That's right, airbags. That's what it's gonna do, okay? Pretty excited about it. Zach, why are you smiling? Okay, get him on the tripod, Zach. You know what they say, she's only original once. Because this goes away. Jack was in the wrong place. Well, that went surprisingly okay-ish. I think we're committed now, Zach. I think we're committed. Okay, well, since we're committed, I'm going to throw my old on and just keep on going. She's a little heavy in the back. Just saying. I didn't think about that. Probably need to cut that big old heavy rear end out of there pretty quick. Well, we'll put you back over there. We'll cut the rear end out real quick so we get the weight off this thing. And then from there, we're gonna come in and start trimming all this stuff up. Sound like a plan? Sounds like a plan. Say hello to my liquid friend. Okay, guys. As you saw, we slid the clip in. And it actually went in very well. We did have to trim this right here. It didn't actually go in enough to get our measurement enough. So, which ain't a big deal. All we're gonna do is I'm gonna come back up underneath here and I'm gonna just add some steel up into here and bring this up like this and plate all this in right here. So we'll just plate that into that. That'll be good. And then I'll plate this into this. I'll just run a plate in to tie all this in, and then I'm gonna end up putting something here anyways to plate right back into here. Actually, that's not gonna be a plate, that's probably gonna be a piece of 2x3, and I'm gonna weld it right here and weld it on the frame here to tie the back of this tail in. And then when I carry this up front to the back, it'll tie it all together. So as you can see, we have our lines now. Can you see the laser? Kinda? The green line?
No, I don't think they can really see
this, you might see it from this angle, but anyways. Try to see it or not, maybe a little bit. But so the laser's sitting back there, and it's hitting that line, that line, that line, that line, that line, and that line. So we know we're all square down through to here, and now it's right up through the middle there. And then the other thing we did was we actually measured, so we knew that it was 42 3/4 from right here, okay, up to the center line of the old one. So as we squared and got everything up in, we just measured from here to here, and it's 42 3/4. And then we double checked our measurement by measuring from here to the back, and that all worked. So we know that's all good. And then we took our laser, hold on, I'm gonna go get it. I'm not a laser, our little thingy.
That's probably a necessity for doing something like
this.
One of
these little, it can be anything. You don't have to get this one. This is the long acres one, I think, or the AccuLevels. Yes, the long acres, AccuLevels. So the biggest thing here is through everything, you know, we're hitting the frame here. So I know the frame's right, okay? And then I'm coming here and I'm keeping this frame right here perfect. And then I want to keep this here, and then this here all, and then keep it going all the way through. I want to keep the back of the frame good, right here, and then we want to carry all that forwards to the front where we're getting the front horns level, okay? And then we also put a level across the front and checked it there. So the clip was actually a little bit crooked, so we got that whole side set and welded, and then we let this side down a little bit, so it would level out the clip. So now I am 100% confident, I really am 100% confident, that this front clip is square to this chassis and level and where everything should be for the geometry of the front to run as a front Camaro front clip. So I know we're good there. So now it's just a matter of some welding. So I'm gonna, probably tonight, I'm just gonna burn this in real quick and that in, so I know it won't move on me. And then we got a lot of plating and stuff to do. So we'll be doing a bunch of that with you guys. We'll get a bunch of it made out and kind of show you what we're doing. I'm not gonna bore you with a whole bunch of that. When I start cutting some brackets and stuff, we'll give you some of that. But now I'm gonna come through and start cutting some plates in and getting some pieces welded in. Because then once that's all done, we can move towards the back and I can connect the frame rails and we can start removing all this part and getting the back pieces built for the new rear end that's sitting on the floor. Back, well, new rear end.
It's new for this car.
Yes, but it is a 77 Lincoln rear end, which is the right width. But yeah, I'm really happy with that. It slid right in just as we thought. Everything looks phenomenal. So as far as I can tell, I think we're gonna be good. There you go, guys. I'm gonna start doing some welding and we'll bring you back. We start doing some plating and stuff. But that's how you bring a clip together. It's pretty simple. It's just really taking your time and measuring and just don't be in a hurry. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is another fine, hot day here in Alabama. And we worked quite a while last night and got the front clip basically welded in for the most part. And now I'm gonna get ready and cut the X-brace out since it's all tied together and start working to the back of the car. So here we are. Zach's been slowly working on disassembly of the front end pieces. Get that right, Zach? That's right. So I do got to build the piece for in there, but this has all been braced to the original frame, welded. I've also welded some of this 2x3 in here, over there. So the clip is hooked to the frame. I got to clean up these parts right here. Everything's freed up now. Now I just got to come back here and I'm going to zip these X's out. I'm going to get all this stuff cut out and cleaned up. So I got a lot of cut and cleaning up to do. And then we're going to come in here and run some 2x3 down and tie it into this back frame rail to make this frame super rigid to handle the horsepower we're going to put at it. So I guess I'm going to put you on the old pod and we're going to do some cutting, grinding, and chiseling and all that other noisy stuff. So that's it. We'll keep going and sorry, bad cameraman. We'll keep going until it gets too hot this afternoon, and then I don't know, maybe we'll do some designing of the rear end stuff. So, but I guess back to cutting. So, ladies and gentlemen, members of our jury, you may be wondering here what I'm doing, and we may not have not recorded cutting the center part out of the frame because I'm thinking I didn't push the button, so I apologize now. Just giving you a heads up. But what we've done is some designing. And this is the bracket we need for the four-lane. Okay, it's out of wood. And it's pretty simple. I mean, you can do this out of cardboard and just draw a cardboard pattern, kind of what you want. We knew we wanted an 8-inch spread, and we knew about where we wanted it, I think. And so we got the ones for, well, these are the ones for down here already cut for the frame. I still got to do some notching and some stuff for that. But these will be the ones that'll go on the axle, so it'll slide over the axle like this, and then the bars will hook onto them right here with an 8-inch spread. So we cut these, and then we cut a pattern that's smaller. So what the pattern is, it actually fits like on the inside of my little torchy thing. So I can just follow along like this and cut them out. And then I just gotta grind them up. That's all there is to it. So I said I already cut up 3 of them, then I had to go get another chunk of steel out of the shed. And what I did is I went ahead and just drilled, because that pre-drilled where we want them, an 1/8-inch hole. So I drilled one hole and I put a nail in it, and then I squared it up and I drilled the second hole. And then I was able to just take nails right here and poke them through with my pattern and clamp it, and now it can't really go anywhere. So it's a pretty simple way of doing it. I mean, you can buy these brackets and stuff. They're like, I don't know, 100 and something bucks or something, I think, for the brackets. They're not crazy expensive, but I mean, I'm gonna have, I don't know, $15 in steel and a little bit of time in them. So it's just, I'll just make them myself. But once I get these cut out, we'll get them cleaned up. And then really I gotta weld a set of these on the frame after we drill them, and then work through the bracketry for the outside one and get that done. And then really that's almost, so we gotta do a little plating back there. We're getting there, it takes some time. Maybe in the next couple days we'll have the chassis done. That would be pretty awesome. So, but I'm gonna do some cuts with this thing.
You don't need a plasma cutter.
You don't need a plasma cutter. And you could technically do it with a grinder, or you could do it with a torch, or you could, there's always a way, okay? But we have one, so I'm just gonna use it. And my dog is gonna try to catch the sparks, because he's not the smartest dog in the box.
don't think they want to watch you cut out.
Yeah, I mean, you guys get the idea. We'll bring you back once we get them cleaned out and kind of show you what we're building with them. So, let's talk about rear suspension and what kind of we're headed. So, you guys saw me burning out these mounts right here. What we're ultimately building is a parallel 4-link. So, these will be 2 inches apart. I'll have a second plate right here.
Hang on. Camera's fogging up again. Hopefully it's done. It's done it twice already.
Sorry, camera's fogging up because it's hot out here still. Not as hot as it has been though. It's warm, but not as hot as it has been. So, with the parallel, we'll have a set of mounts on the rear end. I can show you what those look like. And then there'll be another one out here 2 inches so the brackets can go in, the two parallel arms can go in. So I'll end up bracing this one out here. I'm gonna come out with a brace and hit out here. I'm gonna burn this in on both sides first. Then I'm gonna come out with a little brace in here, and then I'm gonna bolt the other piece together, and I'm gonna weld that in right here, and then do a little bit of capping on the back. And then as you can see by the frame, you know, we've added, you know, this 2x3, which yeah, it's a little heavy, but on this car it don't necessarily matter. There's a transmission right there, Zach. So I'm gonna actually end up welding a plate across here. I'm gonna come in here with a grinder and I'm gonna nip this frame back just about to there, right to here. And then I got a piece of 1/4-inch plate that's gonna go right down past the frame here. And I'm gonna weld it to this section, and I'll weld it to this section, and then I'll cap the two and weld it in and weld it in, and then that's gonna encapsulate all of this mount to this 2x3. And I'll do the same on the bottom. When I'm flip the chassis over, I'll weld a piece in across the bottom. The bottom will be a whole other animal when I start doing that. So I gotta get these two in. Now, again, we're still basing everything off from our bar right here. That's the magic square bar. So I pulled my measurements back to 54 inches and set them both at 54. I plumbed and leveled the frame and the mounts with my little long anchors so I know that the frame is right and I know that this is right. So, and I double checked it with a tape measure like 16 times. Everything is square, everything is right. So it's just, again, measure. Can't measure too much to make sure everything's right. You got like one shot, you gotta cut it all off. But we're pretty good here. And then we got to do obviously some mounts in back here because we're actually going to put a fuel cell back here for the gas tank. But I got to take some measurements to know where that's going to fit within the trunk. And then, so obviously the whole front clip's all burnt in now. The whole Camaro clip came out pretty good. Everything's all capped up, cleaned up, except for obviously the underside, which I can't do yet. So we're looking really good to here. So we're getting really close now to this part of the frame being done. Now these are the mounts right here for the rear. So these little guys right here goes short side down, I think. And then we'll end up taking these mounts off. These will go on here and get welded in right here. And then my bars will come off from here. So, but yeah, we just made all this stuff. That's pretty simple. But I'm gonna take and I'm just gonna throw on a shirt because I've been, tanning myself with a welder. And I'm gonna throw on that long shirt right there. I'm gonna turn the fan up a little bit, move a little bit of air. Zach can record me. I'm gonna burn those in, and then I'm gonna make some more pieces. And we'll come back to you, I guess, when we have all this boxed in and done. And then I'm thinking I'm pretty well done here. This thing's going pretty well. Just a lot of work. It's time consuming, it's tedious, but it'll be well worth it in the end. What do you think, Zach?
Yes.
Let me go get a shirt. As you can see, I finished putting this in and bracing that back down to this frame rail, which goes to the front, okay? I bolted this together with an extra spacer. I know I needed 2 inches, I want a little bit more. And I made up this guy here, okay? That's gonna go in here, like this. Okay. It's actually a little bit like this. Okay. So I get it in there. It's not bad. I'm gonna tack this real quick. Just so don't move when I'm working this. And then I got this piece right here, which is gonna go in here like this. Well, not really in there, or on here. Like so. Kinda. Come on, get it where I need it. That's not throwing it on the ground. Like that. Okay. So now I'm going to weld this up down through here, weld this down through here, weld all this to the original frame, weld this to the bracket that actually holds the body on, and I'll weld this down through and weld it all inside. And then when I'm all done, it'll look like that one no doubt. And really, we should not have any problems out of this. Little safety squints there. Okay, that's where that goes. Okay. So, I guess I just gotta throw my jacket on there and weld this sucker up. And then, I'd say the rear torque boxes are good. They're not going anywhere until I weld the bottom. So, just gonna add a few little things in. And this side will be done like that side, and then we can move on to another section of the car. I see her back. I got one more to get over here, and then we'll discuss what we're doing, okay? One more over here. I'm not gonna do these inside ones. Yeah. Don't worry, that happens all the time. This poor light. This poor light here is taking a light. It's like a time match right here. She takes a licking. She keeps on ticking. So I'm gonna shove the wires back in it like that. I mean, it's basically new. And you just, you know, barely tell. Well, where are we at on this really hot day? As you can see, I've been working on fuel cell mount. Sorry I didn't bring you along for the whole journey, but it's just been hot, the fans are running, and I'm just doing my best, okay? So, We bought the cheapest cell we could find because it's gonna be easier to buy a fuel tank. Fuel tanks are expensive for these things. I mean, expensive. So since the floor is already rotted out, there's really no sense in messing with that. So I knew I wanted it about 2 inches below this mount, and it's heavy right there. About 4 inches back, give or take. That should put us within. So it'll go 6 inches below this. I gotta build the mounts for the bottom. But that's it. And actually, that right there, I mean, really, that just really put the old stiffening back here. The old. And then, you guys saw we finished the box mounts. 4 boxes. So those are all ready for the rear end. And then, obviously, the frame rails are done down through. So this is all just to strengthen the originals, because the original frame rails are right on the very edge of to keep or not to keep. So we know that the load transfer will be good. It ties into the box and it ties into the front club. So I'm happy with that. We still got to build a cross member for the transmission, which we'll do in a little bit, and we got to do a cross member in here still for the bottom here where the drive shaft will go, and then we're going to do all the mounts up in here for the rear end. So we got that to do. The front's done too. Oh yeah, forgot about that, Zach. Don't put your both transmission. So we cut this off the other one, and I had marked 67 hooks from my bar. Everything's coming from that bar. Like I said, that's the, and then it's the same height as these perches here. So we just had to add a gusset up underneath, which I'll finish capping when I flip the frame over. We just chopped the Camaro frame down and just tied it all in. So, I mean, overall, it looks phenomenal. This thing, the frame is looking great. Everything's square, plumb, level. It should be, as far as we know. So, really, the next step, I think, in this process is really going to be the rear end install, which would be the 4-link bars, and all of the back pieces, the bags and all the stuff in the back, and then assemble the front end back in it. The ball joints were trashed, the rubbers were trashed, so we did order them. Rock Auto! Oh yeah, the cheapest, ship it. So those parts are going to be coming in later this week, so probably this coming weekend we can get those together and on. But I think as far as the clipping goes, I think we successfully did that in this video at this point, I would say. The Camaro clip is on. So we officially have a 69 Camaro clip welded into a 58 Oldsmobile frame. Successfully, I would say. Now I do got to do a few more gussets underneath the bottom, but I mean that's really just flip the thing over and do a little bit of trimming, add some gussets and do some welding. But overall, it is tied together. It's tied together in 3 good locations. This thing ain't good. This is better than factory. I mean, this frame's way more rigid than the old X frame that was in it. So I think we're gonna leave you guys here. And you're gonna want to subscribe and follow along, because the next build, we're gonna put the 4-link together and we're gonna put the whole back together. And in the next video, we should have this frame done, like painted, done. I think that'll be the next video. Get the 4-link in, get the rear end set where it needs to go, get the front end set, get all that done, get the motor set in here, get all that done, and then take it all apart, paint it, and reassemble it. So I think that's the next video. Like I said, I don't want to cram too much into one video, and you know, it's been a lot, but this is not that hard. So again, you have one of these older 55, 54, 58, you know, Oldsmobiles that's running all this stock stuff. So far, everything's been good. We'll know more so the steering when we start doing the body and stuff, but man, everything's laying right where it should be. So it will be good. But we're gonna end this video here. So you guys have a good rest of your weekend whenever you watch this, and you're not gonna want to miss the next video, because the next video, you know, this thing may do some cool things. Just saying. Right, not gonna want to miss the next video, are you, Zach? No, you're not gonna miss the video. So you guys have a great week, and I'm gonna try to stay cool. Probably not, and I'm just gonna keep welding. Peace out, guys.